fine. You just got me. All right. So I wanted to give you a quick update with the Tradehouse. Literally a minute update in terms of with the handbook that we're creating. It is like 60 odd pages, lots of in-depth stuff, lots of graphs, things like that. You need to get to me by the end of this week with anything you want in that you think would be beneficial for your own journey that you wish you had when you started, by the end of this week. Pretty please. That's my only update on that. So tonight's call, do you all have a pen and paper? I'm going to do a bit of a workshop kind of style. So I have a question for you straight off the bat. Get your pen, get your paper. I want you to write out all of the reasons, excuses, all the things as to why you either have progressed or you haven't progressed. Doesn't matter if they're true or valid or not. I just want you to get it out of your head and write it down on paper. All of the reasons, all of the excuses, valid, true or not, as to why you haven't progressed as much as you want. Why you're not where you want to be. That's where we're starting tonight. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You shouldn't have to think that hard because you probably know. So just write it all out. And I highly encourage every single person on here to do this exercise. Otherwise, leave the call. Why are we here? Then Reese Dobson, do not drive. You can do this task later. This is building upon the homework that I set out for you guys. And just write done in the chat when you're done. So tonight's call really is more so directed towards those actively trading, mind you. If you're not up to that yet, it'll still be relevant. This conversation will be relevant for when you are up to that. Okay, so this conversation, if that's you, is for future you. And just writing done in the chat when you're done. Would anyone like to share anything straight off the bat? Is anyone feeling brave? Nat, let me ask to unmute. There you go. Hello.
Hello.
Talk to us.
So I can share, I'll share one of why I have progressed and one of why I have not progressed more than what I would like. I think one of the reasons why I haven't progressed as much as I would like is that I feel like I still don't treat trading like it is my, my profession. When I compare, what's made me successful in my 9-to-5 job, and am I giving trading the same, same attention, same, same drive, same all those things that have made me good at my job. Am I giving that to my trading? And I would still say that the answer is no, because I still feel like sometimes I treat it like it's a hobby and I keep thinking it'll click, it'll come. But I'm not pushing hard enough.
That's really big. Can anyone else relate to that? And it's definitely hard. Like I can relate from like my perspective as well, because when you don't have, say, the monetary gain or the monetary results that you're maybe looking for, it can be hard to treat it just as equal, because you're not getting that, say, instant gratification. But if we think about, you're so right, like if you think about your job, you weren't automatically the best at it when you first started, or 6 months in, or a year in, or 2 years in. Like you had to build your way up to your expertise that you are now. So that's awesome, Nat.
Yep. And I think one thing that has made me progress a lot in my trading, particularly this year, is that when I've treated my trading study like when I was at uni studying, my course, and, studying like the charts and all the videos, and I actually treated it like it's a proper course, I saw huge growth in my trading from doing that. So they're two things that I often, remind myself of, that's what I think is going to make me be the best trader that I can be.
Super powerful. Awesome reframe. I think because people pay such a low amount to study, relatively low amount compared to, say, university or college, people don't give it the same seriousness.
Yep.
If more money is on the line, you're likely to show up differently.
Yeah. I mean, if you think back, like when I was in uni, if I had exams, like it was no brainer that, I'd pull, 4 or 5 hour nights, like studying my textbooks for my exams the next day. I don't do that with trading, Well, sometimes I, but when I do, when I've taken time off from my work and actually hit the study hard, I've actually learnt so much. So
like you had your last biggest breakthrough when you took time off and gave it all you got.
Yep.
I love that.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share? The cool thing about sharing out loud in the groups, all that stuff, is it really cements in shit for you. Okay, it's basically like you're literally saying out loud, claiming what it is. There's no going back from that. It's like public accountability. Last chance. Does anyone want to share anything? Tony Jones, my favorite.
Hey, yes, Jay.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic, thank you.
Talk to us.
Well, I've just been thinking about the last couple of days, and I've been now with Tradehouse for 18 months or more, and I'm still demo trading. I've done a lot of study. I've marked up hundreds and hundreds of charts with the top-down analysis, and I feel I've done a couple of live trades, which have been okay, but consistency is my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me at the moment, I'm sort of that close after all the study I've done, but there's something missing. There's something missing in what I'm not seeing. And it's also not a big enough must for me.
Mm.
And that's like 12 months ago, I would have thought, yeah, I need to get this going, I need to make some money out of it. But things have changed a little bit, but it's not a big enough must. It's not like I've got to die tomorrow if I don't make money. So I sort of think I'll just keep demo trading. I'm still enjoying it. I mark the charts up. I do all those things and I love it. But at some point, I need to get some reward for the effort.
Sure. And that's not going to come on demo.
No, that's right. It's not going to come from a dollar account either. So I need, like I'm putting the work in, but I'm just not in, I don't know, it's just not, it's not providing that outcome that I would have thought after 18 months of studying it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I think tonight's call with what I have planned is going to help you get really clear on this.
Okay, beautiful. I thought you might not let me down.
Not have I ever.
No.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so now, like I said, who here just had a whole list of excuses? One in the chat if you had excuses. No one. All your reasons are valid, are they? Carrie just puts a 1 for the sake of 1. Mine was mainly mindset. Yeah, nah. Look, guys, I am going to talk to excuses really quick because most of the time they are excuses. Okay. And when it comes to excuses, I actually feel like we live in an excuse culture, right? Where people are consistently, finding, or they're just fabricating reasons to avoid responsibility, right? Avoid responsibility for actions or inaction. Okay. And if you are entrenched in an excuse, what's going to happen is you're going to remain in a constant state of denial, right? You're going to remain stagnant. You're going to be unable to recognize your flaws and the areas in your trading that need improvement. And I need you to know that when excuses are the norm, accountability fades. Moving forward with Tradehouse, the rollout, excuses are not the norm. Accountability is the norm. There will be a set of standards that will apply to every single one of you guys that are a part of it. And the accountability is not going to come from me, because the standards are going to be there. They're going to be high. They're going to be in place, and you either meet them or you don't. Right? And in what my dad would say, he's like, get your hand off your dick and start playing with the big boys. He's so crass sometimes. But he just gets shit done. Right? So for progress to be made, we've got to understand what's been in our way. And with excuse culture, it's fucking lethal, guys. Right? If you want to make 100 grand a year trading, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be better than 90% of the traders out there who are just dabbling, who are just treating this as a hobby. Right? If you want to make even $1 million managing multiple accounts, a 7-figure account, whatever, you're going to have to be better than 99% of the people in our industry. Do you realize that? Do you realize the weight that bears, the responsibility that bears? Can you see how excuses would pop in conveniently? Right? You can't excuse your way to results, guys. So my next question to you then is, do you and this is an honest question, I don't want any bullshit, right? Do you 100% back yourself and believe you can succeed as a trader? Do you actually believe you can, or are you just here for the ride? For something to do? Yes, 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 yes. If you don't, I really want you to sit with it. There's no right or wrong to that. Okay, but if you don't, that's actually the first step you need to address. Right? You've heard me say a gazillion times before that our brains are supercomputers. We must be constantly scanning for viruses. We must be upgrading our mental machinery that's running the show and calling the shots. Whenever a belief pops in, you need to ask, is this fact or is this perception? Okay. From there, you must align your behaviors with your beliefs. There's no point believing that you are going to be a really good fucking trader and then not behaving like one. Do you see the incongruency there? Straight up. Doesn't make sense. There's a disconnect. There's a misalignment. You're delulu. Right? So, Tony, you mentioned before consistency. So let's talk about just the word consistent for a second, right? To be consistent doesn't mean constant. And some of you are getting this mixed up, right? Because if we think of the word consistency, most people think of that as being on all the time. I'm consistent. I'm doing all the things. I'm on all the calls. I'm on. Okay. Now, you may be consistently on the charts, but you may not have consistent processes. Okay. And if, I don't know, like consistent, what does it fucking mean? It means like acting or doing something in the same way over time. That's what it is. Like it relates to maintaining a set of behaviors, a set of patterns, a standard of like regularity in your behavior, in your processes. That's what consistency is, right? If we think of constant, that is something that is occurring continuously over time. It's uninterrupted. Right? So a trader who aims for consistent results is a trader who is seeking profitability over a defined period of time. Monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, yearly, right? It's their trading strategy is grounded in consistent behaviors. It's grounded in discipline. It's grounded in ensuring that you follow a set of rules, a set of guidelines that then gives you regularity in your performance, right? So for example, if a trader is consistently profitable, then that means they might have winning trades, they might have losing trades, but over time, they are in profit. Okay. Whereas if we think about constant, right? If a trader is constant, then that is a trader who is constantly looking for profits and is aiming for gains every single trading session. That's unrealistic, right? Constant, being always on, that doesn't allow for the ebb and flow of market conditions. It doesn't allow for the ebb and flow of you as a human, who is a human, not a machine. Right? So a trader who is, consistent in their approach to the markets understands that losses are a part of the game, guys. Right? They maintain this emotional equilibrium. They're focused on the bigger picture, even if they lose some trades. But if you were showing up constantly, right, and you're aiming for constant success, that's where you're going to find yourself under a lot of psychological stress, right? It's when a trader is facing drawdown, which then leads to doubt. It leads to fear. It leads to impulsive decisions. It makes them deviate from their plan. You have unrealistic expectations of constant gains. Is this making sense? So I want you to check where you are in the consistent and the constant. And maybe you're getting that confused. Okay, in, like, say, risk management. Consistency in risk management involves a certain percentage of risk per trade, for example. But a constant approach in, say, risk management, like if risk is constant, then maybe a trader is risking the same amount of money on every trade and not even considering anything else, right? They're not considering the changing dynamics of the market. And that's when you just do stupid shit and you blow your accounts. So I want you to check, are you consistent? If you're consistent, then do you have consistent processes? Because I have no doubt if consistency is being in profit over a period of time, then where does the amount click in? What do you mean the amount? Hey, Shane. What do you mean the amount, Tony, of profit? If consistency is being in profit over a period of time, then where does the amount of profit click in? I don't understand your question. I'm going to unmute you.
Okay, what I was thinking was, okay, I can be in profit, say over 2 months, I can be $10 in profit. Is that still consistency?
Depends if you're consistent in your processes.
So it's not just profit.
So to get that $10 profit, did you follow the exact same plan, the same rules, the same entry rules, the same exit rules, the same risk management rules that resulted in getting that 10? Or were you just consistently trading?
A bit of both.
Then you're not consistent in processes, you're just consistently trading.
Yeah.
So for you to determine if your profits are, say, genuine and you're on the right track in your strategy, you're defining your edge.
Yes.
Your trading plan, for example, needs to be tested over, say, 100 to 200 trades.
Yep. Okay.
Which is going to take time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Perfect. Good question. Okay, so like obviously in trading, we've got to understand the nuances between the terms, say consistency and constant. Okay, because these terms, it's more than just semantics, right? It's like it's a reflection of a trader's approach, of your own expectations, right? Of one's own realism. So we got to be aiming for consistency with processes rather than constancy. Is constancy a word? I don't even know. But we're just chucking a Y on the end of that. Okay. And from there, what you got to do then is, Shane, I don't know if you were on at the very beginning. I asked everyone to get a pen and paper out and write out all of the reasons, all of the excuses as to why you may not have progressed as much as you wanted. And whether they are true, whether they are valid or not, I just wanted them to write it out, because quite often we are living in this excuse culture where we are consistently finding, reasons to like just, or even just ways to fabricate reasons to avoid personal responsibility. So that's what we've been talking about. So from there, right, if you've answered those questions, you've listened to that conversation, this is where you then have to adjust your goals and expectations to match your consistency so you know what to expect. Does that make sense? Meaning, don't be delusional about what results you're going to have based off the work you put in or you haven't. Sometimes we can be a bit delulu. We're like, I've been putting all the hours in, I'm doing this. But the one thing we're missing is the consistency in the approach. It's the testing the trading plan over a period of time. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Everyone, close your eyes. Except Dobbo, because he's driving. Close your eyes. I want you to think back to a time you had a big goal and you didn't achieve it. What happened? Why did you not achieve it? I want you to really relive in detail, just for a moment, this specific failed experience. Think about it. Think about how you felt. Think about all the work you put in or you didn't put in. Maybe it was your expectations for the amount of work. Maybe there was a bit of entitlement, whatever it is. Once you've got that, I want you to open your eyes and write down what you saw in your mind, what you felt, what it was. Yes, I was coughing. In the chat, write done when you're done. Excuse me. I'm going to go one step further and write in the chat what it was. Just quickly, one sentence, what it was, what you felt. What's SL 500? I'm like, stop loss 500? Oh, shit. I'm like, 500 is a lot, is a pretty big stoppy, Tony. We need to talk about that. Mercedes. Yeah. 30 more seconds. Drop it in the chat. Didn't want enough, failed to have a clear vision strategy to realize the goal, lack of belief in my ability to achieve it. Okay. Now, not finishing my degree and feeling regret that I didn't push through the challenges at the time. My goal was my salary increase this year. I worked really hard, smashed my budget, happy client, and increase was terrible. I felt disappointed, let down, wondered if I had done enough when I know I did. Okay, so when you think about your trading goals, drop in the chat, what are they? If you're new on this call, there's a few new people. Fucking play with us. Don't just lurk in the background. No one likes a lurker. An investment was stolen. Heartbroken because I had dreams of the life it would change for my family. Oh no. Guys, with your goals, right? If you don't want to share them in the chat, whatever. What I want you to do though, and this is what your homework is I want you to add an or else scenario to your goal. So I want you to revamp your goals and I want you to add an or else scenario, right? I want you to vividly imagine the consequences of you not sustaining change, you not tweaking what you need to do in order for you to become who you need to become in order for you to achieve the goals that you've set out. Right? So I'm going to become a funded trader or else I blah, 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 blah. Insert whatever it is, okay? When you add an or else condition to your goal, you then get to turn that fear into motivation, okay? The brain is literally wired to respond to fear and danger first, right? You will not gravitate towards the wrong behaviors if you are emotionally connected to the danger, to the or else, to the consequence. Remember, why do we do anything? It's either to gain pleasure or avoid pain. Exactly, Nat. And you've just experienced that pain when you didn't get your pay increase. So instead of relying on your boss to give you one, why don't you do what you need to do and give yourself one? Right? The thing is, when traders come to me for help, they're usually troubled by a particular emotional state that's affecting your decision making, right? Anger, frustration, anxiety, fear, doubt, right? Their goal is to change how they feel, how they want to feel. But you guys don't know how to do that. And this is where a lot of traders can view their emotions as fixed and unchanging aspects of a personality. This is where you just say, I've always been this way. It's just the way I am. Insert it, right? In my experience, it's very difficult to change personality, but we can change how our personalities are expressed. I have the hiccups. Okay. What I see all the time in traders is they fall into this trap of trying to control feelings with thoughts. You cannot out logic a feeling. You cannot think your way out of a feeling. it's actually impossible, right? So if you tell me that you've taken some losses and you're feeling down and out about it, me just saying to you, look, Kerry, it's fine. There's other trades. There's other opportunities. Whilst, yes, that's true, that's not helpful to you in the emotional state that you're in. It doesn't touch what you're actually experiencing. Okay. And what these feelings, like what feelings are, is they express a psychological reality, right? So asserting a logic reality actually ignores the personal meaning that this situation has on you. Okay. Feelings are really fucking stubborn. And talking our way out of talking our way out of them, or even trying to think our way out of a feeling or into a feeling, into a different feeling, it doesn't fucking work. And if it did, guys, psychologists would be out of fucking business. Right? No one would ever need a counselor. No one would ever need a therapist. Okay. So what helps to understand is when you're feeling a certain way about your results, about losses, about progress, whatever it is, what I need you to anchor into is that it helps to understand that the perspective or the feelings that you're feeling, it's just feedback. It contains information for you, right? So the best thing about that, and the most constructive thing about that, and the most constructive thing you can do, is to try and understand what the wisdom is, right? And try and acknowledge the information instead of just trying to think your way out of it and feel something different and bypass it and avoid it, right? If it's when we fail to do this and we just pretend it doesn't exist and that we're emotionless, that's when we lose the information and we actually can't shift states and we can't shift perspectives. Does that make sense? Speaking of Notion, my challenge to you guys is this: get your pen and paper out. You're going to write it down. And I'm not writing this in the chat because it's too big. All right, let me just pull out my notes. Okay. So I think I've got 5 days, 5-day challenge. Day 1, and this is for traders. Sorry if you're not trading. Sorry, like actual live traders and you've got journals and datas and stuff. So day 1, I want you to gather all of the data from your last 50 trades. However many trades, if you've only just started and you've only done 20, then fucking take 20. Okay. Gather data from your last 50 trades. The data I'm looking for that you need to take is your average risk amount, right? Average winner, average loser, average risk to reward, average profit factor. A really good way for you to get all of this data that's going to make your life so much fucking easier is linking your account to MyFX book. So if you go to myfxbook.com, you can link your trading account, and I get stiffies over this fucking website. So if you go here, and you click on portfolio at the top, or you need to create an account, but you basically link your MT4, MT5 account to here. It'll bring up all your trades, all the pretty stuff that we're looking for right here. Profit factor, yeah, like the average profit you're making, if you have that. Yeah. So highly recommend MyFX book. It will do all of your trades, like previous ones as well. It'll log everything. Very cool tool. Okay. Now we are actually in the process of, I'm speaking with an app developer software guy, creating a journal That's next level from Notion, where it's essentially got TradingView built into it and like a MyFX book built into it type scenario. The only issue is we've got to link our broker to it. And so then when you create your trading accounts with your broker, it'll be a listed broker, and then it'll just literally bring everything over that MyFX does. And it'll literally be like, just think of Notion and MyFX book and MetaTrader combined, and it'll have like all data. So this is going to take time and a lot of money to make, but that's something in the works. A very valuable tool. So just like a journal on steroids, basically. Okay, so that's day one's information you need to get. Okay, day two is you're going to write out your strengths and weaknesses. You're going to figure out where and why you're taking the most losses, and you're going to figure out where and why you're getting the most wins, profits. And do not do 5 days in one day. I've got this as a 5-day challenge for a reason. So you don't skip shit, you don't rush shit, you do the job fucking properly, and you just understand your stuff. Okay. So day two is you're figuring out your strengths and weaknesses. You're figuring out why you're taking the most losses. You're figuring out why you're getting the most wins. Okay. Day three, consider all the data that you've now gathered. And I want you to create 5 to 10 new rules that reflect this information. Okay. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if rules is the right word. Maybe creating a set of goals that reflect a trading process that you need to improve on. Maybe that's better. Right? So creating a set of goals, guidelines, perfect. Don't have the language tonight. Creating a set of guidelines that reflect a trading process that you need to improve on. And this is something you have to have control over. So this is not a profit target, right? An example of this guideline or goal or rule, whatever you want, is I know there's a few of you that tend to get out of trades due to FOMO, or like, fear of unrealized losses, all that shit, whatever it is. So maybe the guideline is you need to practice holding the trade longer and building that resilience muscle. Regardless of what happens to the trade, if you are monitoring structure and the trade is still valid, stop fucking getting out of it. Right? And this is a case of, this is a guideline for win or loss. The exercise that you're practicing here is you building the mental and the emotional resilience to stay in the trade and trust your analysis. Okay. So whatever the goal is, whatever the guideline is, it's got to reflect a certain behavior that's impacting you negatively that you can then improve on. You're only going to be able to write these goals when you've done day 1 and day 2. So don't even try and think of them right now. Kerry's like, what's my behavior? At the end of each trading session, trading day, I want you to rate yourself on a 1 to 10 how well you did. 1, you didn't do very well. 10, you followed your guidelines as you should have. Okay, so the idea here is to never trade without consciously working on some aspect of your trading, with some aspect of your processes. Okay, because I need you to remember, this is trading. It's not about making money, even though that's what we're doing. It's about this exercise is about creating the experience when trading that will help you sustain competence and confidence. If you don't have the behaviors to do what you got to do, you're not going to feel competent on the charts. You're not going to feel confident on the charts. So this whole activity is about creating the experience for when you are trading, so that it will, it will sustain your sense of competence and confidence and oh my God, Confidence and competence. What you see, and you can probably relate, is a lot of traders' problems show up and get exposed in how they handle opportunity, not loss. Who are you when you're winning? Are you King fucking Kong? Right? Your focus needs to go from making money to the actual process and consistently operating your processes. The reason why this is you can't control, you control how you trade, right? You can't control what you make. So the only thing that you can control is you control how you trade. The markets control how you get paid and what you get paid. Right? You can't control your P&L, but you can control whether or not, I'm fully pointing at you, whether or not you're being the trader you need to be. That's in your control. Right? The confidence you're seeking in trading in the charts isn't going to come from being right all the time. It comes from surviving the times you're fucking wrong and how you handle yourself then. Okay. Day 4. Quality over quantity. You've got 9 and only 9 trades to take for the month. Now, obviously, the month will be over soon. It's like 2 weeks left. So October, you have 9 trades for the month. Quality over quantity. Your job for day 4 is actually a month-long process. But it is about gathering all the data, how you've, looking at all the data of where you've had the most trades, the most winning trades. Go and see and study them, what you did right. Why did I win this trade? Just winning a trade and chucking it in Notion isn't enough. Why did you win the trade? Why did you lose the trade? Yes. So 9 trades for October and November. This is literally going to be your thing for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 fucking trades a month, right? Your day intraday traders. You don't have to be taking stupid amounts of trades. So only take trades that align with the new data that you've gathered from these challenges, these daily activities. Now, every trade that you take, this is day 5. Every trade you take, I want you to add into your Notion, I want you to figure out what worked well and what didn't, what you enjoyed, what you didn't. So day 4 and day 5 are really about the next trades that you take. I'm going to add in a day. Day 6, we're now on a 6-day challenge. Day 6 is your rules. So we had guidelines before, now we have rules. By now, you should have a pretty good indication of who you're being on the charts when you're winning and when you're losing, what you're doing the most, what you are doing well, what you need to do better. So this is where you're going to create your new rules, right? And it's going to look like this. I'll write it in the chat. In order to avoid this mistake, whatever the mistake is, insert mistake. I must take action on. In order to trade well, I must take action on. If you're an overtrader, in order to avoid overtrading, I must take action on. So you'll be able to write your own rules when you consider day 2, when you figured out where and what you're doing the most in good and bad. These rules, actually, you know what? Let's swap some days. Day 6 is actually going to be day 3. Day 3 is day 4, and then bump them down. So we're just inserting day 6 as the new day 3. Day 3 becomes day 4. Day 4 becomes day 5. Day 5 becomes day 6. That is what I ask of you. Do you have any questions? No? Anyone? Any feedback? You're welcome, Shane. Welcome back. You have a whole journal of trades you can look at, though. So yeah, this is, if you don't have, just look at what you got. And that could be another thing, right? If you don't have many trades, why not? Why are you not trading? Why are you not taking trades? Why are you marking up trades and not pulling the trigger on MetaTrader? Consider all behaviors that you're doing that's not getting you where you want to be. Yep, you can use your demo trades. Have fun with this. So this is going to be the last normal inside the trader's mind. Okay, so for you Americans on here as well, just a bit of an update. As of October, they're moving back to Tuesday. Okay, but for the next 2, which will remain on a Wednesday, they're going to be the rebel sessions. So this is where we're actually talking about fucking banking collapses, how to prepare, how to open your fucking mind so it doesn't fall out. So rabbit hole sessions are the next 2 Wednesdays because we've got Rebel with Wealth on at the moment. So the next 2 Wednesdays are dedicated to Rebel sessions. And that's obviously open up to Tradehouse, those 2. So same time, same night, they are for the next 2 Wednesdays, just so we're clear, they're not going to be trading related. It's going to be like how to prepare, just that conversation. So you're welcome to come. If you're not interested, don't come. Don't come. All right, my friends, that is all from me tonight. I really hope it was helpful. The recording will be up tomorrow. And if you have any questions, just pop them in Discord so everyone can learn. Don't message me directly. Just put your questions in the general chat so then everyone can see what they are, unless they're personal. Feel free to message me. Appreciate you all. Have a beautiful night. Have a good New York session if you're trading it. If not, go the fuck to sleep.